we're talking about foreplay as if we invented foreplay.
Yeah, literally.
Hello, welcome back to Sextras,
where we talk about sex and all the extras.
I'm Honey, and my all-time favorite drink is coffee.
Boo, boring, so predictable, so unoriginal.
Yeah, but there's so many like variations, you can't knock it.
Oh, there's so many variations though. I just feel like coffee just doesn't taste. This is the thing though. Like, I'm waiting for one day to think that coffee tastes good, because it's like alcohol. Like, you know, people that are like, I'm not convinced that anyone likes the taste of alcohol, and I agree with that. I don't think anyone actually likes it. People just like getting drunk, but like
you just get used to it.
And I think coffee is the same. People don't actually like the taste of it. It's just the effect. I just don't get how you can actually like that taste.
I do
it's so
like
disgusting.
the taste of it. It's so nice.
Nah, not for me. I one day will grow up into an adult and like it, but
no, because so many people don't drink it.
Yeah, do so many people not drink it?
Yeah, I feel like more people don't drink it than do drink it.
Really?
Yeah.
I so don't feel like that.
I don't know. And don't quote me on that.
You know how before we say anything we go like, I feel like, and we kind of just say it as though like our feeling is sort of like the matter of fact. Like, so you're like, yeah, I feel like it tastes good, and I'm like, I don't feel that way.
Everything is just opinion as fact. Like, literally everything we say with our like stupid polls and our stupid like unscientific research.
Yeah. Well, hi guys, sorry I haven't introduced myself yet. I'm Maria, and my all-time favorite drink, well, the only drink that I can honestly say that I would be very, very devastated if I could never drink it again, is water. So
how is that more original than mine?
It's not. It's not.
Like, wow, you need water to live. Congratulations. I didn't even know that you drank water, to be honest. Like, I mean, obviously, like, you drink water, but I didn't know that you like.
Oh yeah, remember when we were like driving somewhere. It was like, I think the first time that I'd like driven with you somewhere, like your mum was driving us somewhere, and so we like stopped at a gas station. And your mum was like, does Maria like water? Because I'm so picky that she just I'm so picky with food that she thought I didn't like water. Or like drink water.
Yeah, you seem like the kind of person who'd be like, yeah, I don't drink that.
What do you mean? But I hate fizzy drinks. So what am I going to drink if not... Like, I don't like
juice.
Coffee. I don't like fizzy drinks.
You just seem like the kind of person that would just drink juice and like think
the
that's
only
enough.
thing I drink is juice. Yeah, I guess my favorite drink, actually, though, for real, is actually that Mexican rice drink, you know, the
oh
horchata.
yeah, it's so good.
It's so good. If you're not Mexican, and so you've never had it, you should try to find it somewhere. You spell it with an H at the start.
They have it like everywhere in LA, well, in California.
Oh, so good. Anyway, now you know our favorite drinks, guys, in case you were wondering.
Mm-hmm.
So
we were trying to think of like our favorite alcoholic and favorite non-alcoholic drinks, but I literally don't know.
Maybe we'll tell you our favorite alcoholic drinks next week, guys.
We'll save it for another time, just for you guys.
So
we know you're
better
so
check
interested.
in next week to find out.
A little cliffhanger there. I bet everyone's gonna spend all week thinking about that.
Yeah, and with that, we're gonna leave you hanging and move on to the actual topic of this week,
Which is
foreplay. You could say drinks is like the foreplay of food.
yeah, coffee is like the foreplay of the day.
Exactly. Wait, literally perfect segue. Couldn't have planned it even better. Like.
So we thought we'd start with a segment, and we did quite a few segments actually. We started with some polls and then we asked some questions. We first asked, men or people with penises, do you need foreplay? And first of all, guys, please, if you're not a man or a person with a penis, stop replying to the poll where I ask specifically men or people with penises. Like,
guys, we're trying to do serious research here. Like, you're really hindering our scientific results.
yeah, like, this is not helping.
Yeah, it's not okay. We're gonna need you to take this a little bit more seriously.
Like, we can see the people who reply, and we know you, and we know who you are. Like,
we're gonna find you, bitch.
Yeah, we had to recalculate the whole thing because it was just clearly not right. So anyway, having said that, and it also goes for the next one as well, 86.7% of men or people with penises said yes, they do need foreplay, and 13.3% said no, they don't need foreplay. Which, honestly, we were kind of surprised about.
Yeah, I'm really surprised. I kind of thought that it was a no. And that's kind of why I wanted to do the poll. Because I feel like we just assume, like, oh, men are just ready to go, you know, pull the dick out and just put it in the vagina, like, straight away. But I was saying, like, nah,
asshole.
like...
or the mouth.
Yeah, anyway, any hole, really.
Yeah.
But, like... realistically, surely they needed a little bit of warming up too. Like, everyone needs a bit of warming up. So, and apparently they do, except that 13.3% are just so macho.
They're just like living life. They can just whip it out at any time and they're ready. But yeah, I mean, maybe we're the only ones that assume that. Like, we're projecting a little bit, but...
No, but as in, I didn't even assume that. As in, like, I'm just saying, I feel like it's a thing that it's like, oh, women need foreplay, but everyone needs foreplay.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah. I'm still a little bit murky on what foreplay guys want, but we will get to that in a later bit of the segment.
Yeah, well, the girls, or people with vaginas, that we asked if they need foreplay, it was 97% yes.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
To be fair, I don't need it all the time. This is what I was also trying to get at, that like sometimes you do just want like quick in and out sex, you know.
Sometimes
but
you like the like rawness.
Yeah. But I do think that is like just sometimes, like as a general rule, I feel like we should strive to have foreplay all the time.
Go in always assuming that the other person wants foreplay. If it looks like maybe they don't, and it's just a quickie and you just want a little bit of like raw dog action, then it's fine.
Yeah. Wait, so what do we mean when we're saying foreplay? Like, what does that actually mean? What kind of foreplay do you like? What things specifically?
Well, kind of what people said. I really like licking and just like a lot of touching. Not necessarily kissing, really. I don't think it's the kissing that I enjoy in foreplay. I think it's just like the fact that you're so close and you're like touching rather than the kissing itself. Because sometimes, you know, when you're not touching and it is just kissing and it's a bit weird. That doesn't turn me on. Like, I need to like be like rolling around a bit and like touching and like undressing. I feel like it's all of them combined that makes it hot and like that turns you on. Because kissing in itself doesn't necessarily mean sex. Like, I feel like that doesn't signal to my mind like we're gonna have sex.
Yeah, that's true, but like interestingly, I feel like, at least I'm not going to speak for everyone in a relationship in the world, but my boyfriend and I feel like we never like make out unless we're going to have sex or like do something sexual. Like we'll kiss all the time, but there's like a certain sexualness to it when it is going to like go that way, you know, like we never make out just to make out.
I hate seeing couples fucking make out in public. It's so disgusting. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
I don't mind it that much, but I'm not super against PD. I don't know, it kind of depends. But anyway, should we actually like see what people said?
Okay, yes. Okay, so we kind of grouped it because obviously people have very similar answers. So the first kind of group is like touching, kissing, undressing, making out, fingering. I mean, that's a bit of a curveball there. Sucking and like playing with your boobs. And
yeah,
licking.
So sort of like all-roundness kind of thing you're talking about. Like it's not just the kissing, it's like plus the touching, plus the like licking, plus I don't know, the certain energy about it.
Yeah, everyone who said touching said something else like kissing and licking with it. Like it's never just touching.
Except that one person that said touched. That one rogue answer that we got.
Thank you so much for that. So yeah,
that's true, because so it's not like, I'm kind of trying to say it in a way, it's like, okay, but what do people mean when they say I want more foreplay? Like,
yeah.
What do people saying when they want I want you to touch me? Like people aren't saying put your hand on my shoulder and like stroke it. I think this touching is more like people are saying like the boobs and like the bum, and it's more like
very
sensual kind of stroke. How else do you put it? Like, well, I guess everyone kind of, I feel like you know what.
I want you to sensually stroke me.
But it's also not just like a stroke, it's like a grab.
Yeah. Like when I think of foreplay, I think of lying on a bed, you're making out, but there's also like rolling around and like grabbing each other's ass and like someone's touching my leg or like my boob, and it's like very like take me now kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. But yeah, I think it's a sort of the way of touching rather than the place or like, you know what I mean?
That's
it
so true, because you can just be like, I'm thinking I've been hanging out with people and they've touched me, and it's like that's not just like a friendly touch, like it's very obviously sexual. And then it's like, wow, that was really hot, but like why? They literally just touched my arm.
Exactly.
This is what I want to understand, the essence of the touch. Okay, so anyway, that was the first group.
Okay, next group. The next group kind of talks a little bit more about like oral, like, so lots of kissing, breast and nipple play, oral sex. Head is good before sex because I don't just come from penetration. And someone else said kiss me, lick me, suck me, and even some like choking, they said. Someone else said grinding and that.
Grinding, that's interesting.
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely part of the what you were saying, that's like tumbling around in the bed.
Yeah.
Well, I guess oral's a bit of a tricky one because we did bring this up when we were planning the episode, like as bi women especially, or like women that fuck women, it's kind of like, well, I guess maybe oral is sex in this circumstance. It's not actually part of the foreplay. Yeah. But
that's kind of what I was thinking.
In like, other contexts, like, I think that oral can definitely be part of foreplay. I think it is one of the things that fall into it, but I do think it can also stand on its own. Yeah. But that said, I do think that as part of foreplay or as part of the sex story or like narrative or whatever, I think it's really not included enough. And I think
especially cis straight couples,
and I think a lot of people do need oral as part of foreplay. Like a lot of girls do actually want this to get them heated up, to get them turned on. Like, I low-key feel like foreplay can also like not just be before, like even though it is implied in the name, foreplay is like ongoing in the sex.
Yeah. It like leads up to sex, but it's also a part of sex.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the introduction to the story, but the introduction is still part of the story as a whole.
Yeah.
And then a few other things people said is fingering is actually the best. I mean, as long as someone knows what they're doing, which, as we will get on to in a second, clearly people don't. Someone said body contact and penis to penis is hot and rimming.
Penis to penis.
I was thinking about this because I was trying to kind of think about like the differences in straight and queer sex, and I was like, I obviously I haven't had gay male sex, so I don't know what that's like, and I was trying to think about what foreplay would be, because as we were saying, like oral is kind of viewed as sex in like the gay community in so many ways. So then I was like, oh, I wonder if that is a thing, and then someone sent this and I was like, oh, I understand that, because it's kind of like penis rubbing on your vagina, you know what I mean?
Oh,
that's so hot. That's good foreplay. No one said that.
Oh, true.
That is really good foreplay, and that's underrated.
Yeah, like teasing.
Yeah.
This whole argument of like queer sex, like what does foreplay mean in this context of queer and straight sex, like what is foreplay really, like just points to the whole foreplay just is part of sex, like you can't really separate them, like you can't really have one without the other, because they just come so hand in hand. So as someone actually, do you want to read the last thing, which is kind of pointing to what I was saying? Yeah,
so someone said for 75% of women it's not just foreplay, it's their main event, see it through, which is like so true. I think, as we were saying, sometimes you do just want like that penetration, and that's fine, and that satisfies you, and that's all you want in that moment. But sometimes when you're having sex with someone and it's just penetration, you just feel so unfulfilled afterwards. It's like, okay, but like what about all the other things? It's like the condiments and like the sauce and like the seasoning to the sex that just makes it so much better. Like you wouldn't just have a meal and just leave it bland.
Yeah. And I think also the reason why it is so important is that in the polls, like we saw both guys and girls want foreplay generally, whatever. But I think that what we need to sort of get through is that, like, okay, then what is the foreplay? Like, because maybe that just means like, oh, okay, we need to like make out for like 5 minutes and then I'll be good to go kind of thing. But for girls, like, maybe that means I need him to be touching me for a good 10 minutes then go down on me for a good 7 minutes. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like, it's part of sex and it's needed for sex to be good. It's like...
Yeah.
And more attention needs to be put on it, because also I think what's happening is like guys will like... Yeah, people will... A guy and a girl will have sex or whatever, like, and then the guy will come and then that will be that. And the girl is like still not even halfway there, or like getting turned on or like preheated or whatever, kind of how we were saying in the episode with Kinky. You guys should.
And I think that was like something that she expressed really well, is because we talked about oral sex and tips for guys and girls, so if you want more on that, then that is the episode for you. Go check it out. It's called How to Have Better Sex. She kind of talked about how women need time to preheat, and I think that's where this whole narrative of like women need foreplay and maybe men kind of get left out of that narrative more. But actually, when you're sucking a guy's dick, it's not just about the dick, it's about touching their stomach and giving them like multiple sensations at once. And for girls as well, they need that time for their G-spot to engorge, so that when it gets to penetrative sex, it is good. And it's like this whole immersive experience. You get so much more pleasure from penetrative sex, which a lot of the time is seen as like the main event, but it is also just like can give you equal amounts of pleasure by itself if you do it right and like give it enough attention and like give it as much value.
Yeah, I agree. And then I also think it's quite important for women that can't come like vaginally, or maybe not that they can't, it's just like, what if that's not happening, then it's like, then foreplay might be the way to get there, or like the sort of acts that we get involved in foreplay might be the way to get there, or taking more time with these things might be the way to get there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's all about sort of taking your time with it and like really listening and doing what the person wants, and like, I don't know, it being like an experience of like listening and reacting to each other rather than just getting a task done.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so kind of on that note of like getting a task done, we asked people what's the most shocking foreplay, quote unquote, you've experienced. For example, they rub your thigh for 20 minutes thinking it's your clit. Which
Has that happened to you, honey?
Yeah.
Is that what you use
that as a specific example? So the first one people said is that they fingered my belly button. I hate my belly button being touched. I just don't see why.
There's not kink shame here.
I'm not kink shaming, but it is a bit like, I'm gonna do, like, maybe it was turning the person doing the licking on, but you know, if it's not turning the person
fingering, actually.
Oh, sorry, fingering the person whose belly button it is, if it's not turning them on, then it's a bit like, it's just a bit invasive.
Yeah, that's not nice, especially if you don't like your belly button being touched. That's a bit of
that
a
would
weird
really
one.
hurt as well.
I mean, I don't know how hard
How are they
they're
fingering it? I mean, if you've seen the way people finger vaginas.
Yeah, true. Don't know about this one. I mean, the touching. We did mention a lot of touching.
And maybe it's like the like places that are out of reach usually, like the mysteriousness of it, that it's like, yes, like every part of me.
Yeah, it is a hole also. Maybe they're just
but actually a kind of a similar like weird location. I mean, I don't, again, not want to kink shame this person, but someone said this guy I dated liked his ears licked or bitten. It was interesting, but I feel like this is way more common than the belly button one. Like, I've met so many guys who like their ears being licked.
Yeah, I love it, mate.
It's really nice, but some people go way over the top with it, and it's a bit like, ugh, like, get your tongue out of my fucking like eardrum. Like, it doesn't need to go that far in.
Yeah.
I think like the outside, like the lobe area. I don't want your tongue like inside my ear. Like, some guys just
Wait,
go
what?
too
I've
into
never
that.
heard that. I thought you were just talking about having a little nibble.
No, genuinely, I've had people like stick their fucking tongue inside my ear.
Oh,
like,
I've had that like in the
people.
heat of the moment, but only once or twice. Yeah, that's kind of wild.
I didn't like it. But
I bet it doesn't taste good. Like...
Yeah, I know. Like, can you not taste my earwax? Like, that's really gross. That's just what I was thinking about the whole time. Like, ew.
I think we've established that everyone loves a bit of licking, a bit of touching. You know?
Yeah.
And we did say everywhere. Like, we did say the calves thing would be weird, but better everywhere than, you know.
Yeah, it's
the more
quite
the merrier.
nice. I think it's so intimate. Maybe that's the belly button thing, is it's just so...
More intimate than fingering your pussy. Like...
Yeah, but because, I mean, you can have someone finger you and it be so not intimate in any way.
Yeah, but how is your belly button more intimate?
Because not many people have access to it, whereas, like, so many people finger you and it's like,
What? Honey, this is wild. So many people have access to my belly button. I wear crop tops all the time.
Yeah,
like...
but you don't just see, like, I'm not saying you see people like fingering each other on the street. I'm just saying, like, a lot more people have fingered my vagina than have fingered my belly button. Like,
well, yeah, no, that's not the argument I'm making.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's more intimate
but
because not many people have been there. It's like uncharted territory.
I don't think that makes it more intimate.
Yeah, but I'm saying maybe to them that's the logic.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, to be honest, I don't really get what you get out of fingering a belly button.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm saying.
Does it feel good?
It's the mystery.
Yeah, it's definitely that. It's more intimate and mysterious than a vagina. Let's move on to something else that isn't putting stuff in holes that aren't the vag or the ass or the mouth. We're gonna have like a guy like picking my nose. It's fingering my nostrils. I reckon that's
wouldn't be
the thing.
surprised at this point.
Wow.
A hole is a hole.
A hole is a hole. Okay, anyway.
Someone said finger in my bum thinking it was my vagina.
Oh no. I've had the dick thinking it was my vagina, but never the finger.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Someone else said a guy scratched my clit with his fingernail and asked if I came.
Oh, that's so horrible to think about.
Oh, wow.
I mean, honestly, not surprising in any way.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Kind of similarly, someone said he nibbled my flaps and did it just a bit too hard. Chomp, chomp. Just to clarify, I think by her flaps she means her labia. But, ow. The labia minora or the labia majora?
I guess all of them just...
Like a big sandwich.
I've never had a little bit of a bite on my vag. Only a bit of a suck.
Yeah, no, I haven't had someone bite it. That would be really painful.
Someone else said a cursory touch to check if I was wet enough. Yeah, I've had that.
I mean, yeah.
It's so awkward, especially when you're just not.
Yeah, when they're like, you know what, I'll put my finger there, but it's not to finger you, it's just to see if you're wet enough.
Yeah, oh, it's really awkward though when they check and then you're just not wet, like... So it's like, well, yeah, what are you gonna do now, mate?
Yeah. Once this guy was like, oh, you've never come. I was like, you haven't tried.
Yeah.
You've literally done nothing.
Would you... Sorry?
Yeah, like try harder. So then someone else said a guy I'd been on one date with told me he loved me after eating my pussy.
Wow.
He must really love eating pussy.
Yeah, that's a way to preheat the oven. Part of foreplay. Tell
Yeah.
them you love them.
Tell me you love me. Tell me you love me.
Someone else said just horrible sucky kissing. And yeah, I couldn't agree more. I genuinely feel like the worst foreplay, other than no foreplay at all, is like just terrible kissing. Like, I just can't deal with terrible kissing. It just makes everything else bad.
Or when they suck anywhere, but it's just a bit too much. Like, I just hate that.
Yeah.
When they think that it's good, but it's like...
Extreme
A guy has literally left me with like massive fucking bruises on my thigh from the amount that he sucked, and I was like, I don't understand. Like, it really hurt.
Yeah.
And like not in a good way.
Yeah, one time I literally was like making out with this guy and he was like sucking and biting so hard I could literally feel my lips swelling, like.
Yeah, no, my lips have been so swollen after kissing someone. Someone else said, well, none is the worst, but just shoving fingers inside me is the worst when they've been trying, quote unquote.
Yeah, oh my god.
When they just like fucking stab you with their fingers. What are you doing?
I hate it. It's so weird. Even worse than the stabbing is also when they're like rubbing the clit so hard.
They're like
like
friction.
What do you think's gonna happen, darling? Like, my days. Someone else said a foot job. I really want to give one, you know, just once. Like, I want to fuck someone with a foot fetish just to know what it's like.
Someone says probably nothing. Someone said to me they were so attractive enough that they didn't need to do anything for me to be turned on. I mean, what?
Oh, shut up.
What? Like, imagine loving yourself that much.
To be fair though, I do feel like, you know, when a guy like just doesn't get hard or whatever, in a way they are like
it's
okay,
not,
in a way
it's
that
not really.
no, I know, but in a way there is this narrative that like women can just be like hot enough that they'll like turn on a guy, you know.
But as we have learned, that is very much not the case.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like it's not like it is really dickish, like the submission and this guy. But I have in my own little head thought that kind of similar thing, you know, like, oh, I just look so hot that.
Okay.
You know?
I completely get what you're saying. I very rarely see a guy and I'm just like instantly turned on by how attractive they are.
I feel like guys need less to be stimulated less to be turned on than girls, to make a generalization.
Yeah.
Like, not every woman and every man, but generally.
Yeah, I agree.
Whether that be like with the mind or with touch or whatever. Whereas a guy could just be like ready to go after like watching his girlfriend walk in naked. But also I want to like call myself out on this narrative too, because I've been wanting to call out this narrative because I feel like it makes me really self-conscious, like as someone in a relationship for like quite a while. Like this whole talk of like, oh, guys like literally just like show them a shoulder and like they're hard and ready to go, was like a lot of the time it's not like that. And like like my boyfriend isn't just like wanting to rip my clothes off every second. Like sometimes we'll argue about how he doesn't want to have sex because of this very reason, because it makes me think that it's like there's something wrong with me when it's not. It's just like this narrative that guys just like need to see a boob and they're ready to fuck.
I feel like it just perpetuates the idea that guys can just be hard from like a woman's like body, but we're not necessarily like turned on by their bodies. Like women are just sexualized and like have this sexuality imposed on them in a way that men just aren't.
Yeah, so true.
So yeah, it's a bit fucked up. So anyway, the answer is someone's appearance isn't foreplay. To bring it back to the topic at hand. Should we talk a little bit about like why we want to talk about foreplay in the first place? Because I personally have been seeing on Tinder a lot of guys being like, I don't do foreplay. Like they put that in their Tinder bio. And it's like,
ugh, okay.
What? So what? I just come to your house, you open the door, you stick it in, you come, I leave.
But to me that's literally just saying like, I literally don't give a fuck about your pleasure.
It's also just saying we're not gonna have sex. I'm literally just a hole for you.
Yeah, no, that's actual bullshit. Like, if they're putting it in their Tinder bio, clearly they just, like, think it's funny or whatever. And it's like...
Yeah.
Why is it funny to, like, continue with the culture in which we prioritise male pleasure and don't care about female pleasure and sex is just about a guy getting his nut? Like...
Yeah, and also, who the fuck is gonna swipe right when they see that bio? Like, you're not attracted. I guarantee you none of these people are attractive as well. So it's just continuing from the argument that none of these people, like, their attraction isn't going to turn me on. Nothing about you is turning me on. So therefore I'm not going to be even wet enough for you to get inside me.
Well, I feel like I've been hearing girls complaining about, oh, when you're just, like, not wet enough, or, like... when guys are like, oh, your pussy is just like so tight or whatever, and it's like a lot of, I think, misconceptions and things that it's like, okay, if I'm not wet, it means that I'm just like not turned on, and it's like I'm not ready for sex, and girls aren't really getting there, and then like sex can be more painful, sex can be harder, which can like all literally be avoided by foreplay. Like this is why we need foreplay. And then they're like, oh, you're hot, your pussy's so tight, blah blah blah. Like, I'm really not gonna go like after that saying or whatever, because I feel like it is hot. I'm not saying that if I hear that I'm gonna be like, well, you know, that actually means that this and this and this. And to be honest, like, sometimes when your vagina is tighter, like, it does just feel better, and I'm not going after it for this reason. But I think, like, girls are complaining about this stuff because there are misconceptions of, like, oh, your pussy's so tight, and, like, that's just because your pussy's so tight, but it's, like, that can be an indicator that you're just not, like, turned on enough for sex. And, like, that can hurt. Do you know what I mean? And this is why foreplay is needed, and, like, it just shows that for so long, like, it hasn't been a thing that has been prioritized, because now there's all these, like, norms in sex, the tight pussy and all of that.
And I also think porn has a lot to do with it. A lot of the time foreplay isn't shown in porn, and it's like they kind of just stick it in and they're ready to go and then they squirt. But it's like you realise for like the 20 minutes of porn you're watching, they probably film like 3 hours of like trying to get the guy to be hard and the girl to get wet, and then for the like an hour waiting for the girl to come, and then the girl comes finally, and then they're like, okay, quick, roll the cameras. And also then rape fantasy and all of these other things that have become like more accessible because of porn. Obviously foreplay isn't even mentioned in rape fantasy because it's just so completely not a part of rape fantasy in any way. So, and I think that is a big part of like the rhetoric around it. I mean, not to like make it too serious or anything, but that is fucked up in its own way. And there's just this entitlement that comes with so much of what we see in porn, and also just men in general. Sorry to like shit on men, and obviously I am generalizing, that they kind of feel as if, you know, a girl should just be ready, or they should just be wet because, you know, they're ready to go. That's just not how it is.
Yeah.
And also thinking about foreplay, the times where I am really like the most turned on is when there's so much build up to it. You're not just like physically turned on, like maybe they've touched you, but it's like, oh, when is it gonna happen? Is it gonna happen? And you've had a good time with them and you're like mentally turned on as well. I mean, I'm not saying that always has to be the case, but I'm saying like it definitely can help.
Yeah. Well, I think that also, like, sex is about having fun. We're not saying it, or not even us, like, women aren't talking about foreplay and, like, demanding this, like, oh, we need more foreplay or all of this, just, like, to be annoying. It's, like, it genuinely just makes sex better, and, like, how you were saying, like, the build-up and stuff. I feel like some of the best sex I've ever had is, like, that kind of sex that just goes on forever. Like, it takes you a while to actually get there, you know?
Yeah.
You're really taking your time. As we've said, sex doesn't always have to be like that, and I'm not saying that's the best sex and that's the only good way to have sex. Like, there's all types of shit you can do.
Foreplay isn't just for women as well. We're not just saying it, please, 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 as these polls have shown, men need it too. And I think foreplay can really help relieve that pressure from guys. Because you know how some guys are really insecure about how quickly they come, or how long they're going to stay hard. It's like you can literally prolong sex and prolong the pleasure for both of you by having foreplay. And like when I think about the sex that I've had, like the really good sex, it's been like literally just like licking for so long, and that's so amazing in itself. And then both of us are turned on by that, and like by giving and receiving pleasure. And then it's not just about penetration and the guy lasting inside of you for however long, and them being insecure about that and like keeping it up. Like it all kind of feeds into each other, this whole, I don't know, I think porn, I've realised in this conversation how much porn has to do with like this whole foreplay thing, because I think it is that instant gratification thing. And I think that's also just very much like a part of the society that we live in as well, of like not just instant gratification, everything has to be fast paced. It's all about the numbers of who you can sleep with, so like how quickly can you get in and out, how many people can you sleep with, are you just like ticking it off, or are you actually living in the moment of sex?
Yeah, so true. It takes away from this whole coming narrative and coming pressure, as you're saying, even not even just from just sex, but also from orgasm, because then sex isn't just about orgasm, it's about all the stuff that you're doing on the way there too, you know.
Yeah, it's about the journey, not the destination. You know?
Exactly. But at least people are bringing it up now, to be fair, and like women are kind of like, nah, this one I need, mate.
I feel like it is very much the way we talk about it as well, because literally when has anything ever changed when it's like women focused language? Like we know for a fact women are not valued, so why are we phrasing it like women need this? Because people don't care what women want. Like they just don't care, so let's phrase it like men need foreplay too, or like let's just have foreplay more altogether, and then maybe something will change. Anyway, let's just reframe it as if it will benefit everyone, because it will benefit everyone. The poll has spoken. Nearly as many men need foreplay, or as many people with penises need foreplay as people with vaginas. So guys, we did our scientific research.
You heard it here
first. Go out, have sex, foreplay.
Foreplay about
the introduction to the narrative. And yeah.
And you know where to find us, guys.
Yeah. Instagram at Sextras Podcast, Facebook Sextras Podcast, our website www.sextraspodcast.com. Please subscribe, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. If you guys want to do anything to help us out, that is the one thing you can do. Please leave us a review or share, with whoever. If you have a lot of followers on Instagram, that would help us out. We have literally been on 960 followers for the last 3 months.
Yeah, so if you want to get everyone you know to follow us, that would be amazing.
And if you get us to 1,000 followers, we are going to do a giveaway. So it's only going to benefit you and your foreplay. So
legit though.
Please, we're begging you. It will benefit you and us. Anyway, we will see you next week.
Bye.
You've been listening to Sextras, presented by Honey Jane Wyatt and Maria Jose Hayodatiyi, produced by Mabel Productions.